Welcome to our Tuesday night opening lines NFL show here on odds.com, the odds headquarters. We are back in action and the winners keep rolling in. Pepsi. Wow, off a 5-2 week, you are now 13-4. 76.5%, up 8.33 units. Your ROI plus 49%. Average line minus 114. Must feel nice, Pepsi. Doesn't feel nice.
It's not bad, baby. Feels good. Feels good.
It's got to feel good, man. It's got to feel good. It's an excellent start. I went 5-5 on the week, so I'm 12-12. Minus 1.25 units, ROI minus 5.21%, average line minus 111. And staring at your numbers makes me want more winners. Pepsi, I need more winners. Shout out to all the cappers joining us as we break down each and every one of these games. This Tuesday night show is our ticket to glory. I really feel that way. We cashed on the Chiefs over because we betted on Tuesday. When we're putting in our action on Tuesday, we're going to be beating line movements, market movements. I love this show. Thank you all for joining us. We got Steel Curtain ready to rock. Buzznut721, Viper NB ready to go. Says my under 8 on the Bears not looking good. Man, that's a team on the upswing. 3-0, and Big Dick Nick looked very, very good. We got 7 ninjas ready to get to work. Mr. Wisdom says, Bebsy, you stellar NFL capper, you. Look at that.
You're being too kind. All it takes is 1 week of shit in the bed, and everyone's going to be like, this Bebsy guy's a real asshole. But
I think 2 weeks. I think it'll be 2 weeks.
All right, I've bought myself a grace week. That's good.
Great sweep. Bebsy making my pocket fat this fight for MB. Steel Curtain says, I knew that Lions vs. Cards game was a trap. Interesting spot. And we're going to see it pop up its ugly head at some point again in the season. On Sunday, Bebsy was very uncomfortable with that bet. Cardinals minus 5.5.
Rightfully so.
And you will have the ability to take it back when you want. You can take those bets back by betting the other side, losing the juice, or finding your way into a middle if that ever comes up. Johnny K ready to go. Shant Nicholas ready to eat. Brandon Lugo, Gerald Jones. Let's get to work, Bebsy. We have a giant card. We don't have any buys starting out till next week. There's only a couple next week. Then the buys start coming in, and we get less games. Right now, we have a lot of games to cap, so let's get right after it right now. The Czar, Melee Payless Way. Jizzy D says the Baltimore Chiefs was a trap. I don't know how. Dennis Garcia wrote a great article about why he was on the Chiefs. We had Birdie in our chat telling us to take the Chiefs. I should have jumped in. But the over 53 and 53.5, I got in at 53, not Pepsi at 53. I didn't feel like that was in jeopardy, even though the Ravens couldn't move the ball. And that's why this Tuesday show is going to put money in our pockets.
They had hit 54 with 8 minutes to go and nothing happened. So that was like, I hit it and I was like, oh, good. Everyone's going to hit this over. And then it just didn't happen, which I don't know. That Baltimore offense just could not move the ball. They got away from their game plan early, and man, it didn't look good for Baltimore. It looked like playoff Baltimore.
It did. Prince of the City has a question. How did you feel Brady played against the
I thought he did very good at his little dink and dunk throws as he has for most of his career.
Wow. We'll take that as a some nice
Didn't he have 2 1-yard touchdown passes? Ooh, what a goal.
He did.
Unbelievable.
To his starter.
1 yard?
Those were his only catches of the game. All right, we have a ton of work to do. Let's get right after it. Again, Bebsy starting the year 13-4. I've started the year 12-12. He's up 8.33 units. I'm down 1.25 units. Let's attack. We're going to start with the Thursday nighter. We have Broncos, Jets. Thursday nighter. 2 teams that are desperately in need of a victory. Denver opening up at Bet365 at -3. That was at plus 105. They're now -1, minus 105. This total sitting at 40. Only one book has brought it down to 39.5. Broncos coming off that disheartening 28-10 loss at home to the Bucs. Driscoll falls to 1-8 as a starter. He was benched in the fourth quarter for Brett Rippon. Rippon completed his first 8 passes for 53 yards. And he's been announced as the starter. Brett Rippon will be starting for the Broncos. Both teams come in 0-3. Melvin Gordon ran 8 times for 26 yards. He couldn't get anything going. Defensive end, Jarrell Casey. Outside linebacker, Austin Calitro. Left tackle, Elijah Wilkinson have all been added to the IR. This IR, Bebsy, for the Broncos. 6 starters on the IR. An outside linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback, defensive end, wide receiver, and right tackle. Overall, there's 4 linebackers and 3 defensive linemen on this IR. $63 million in salary cap space on this IR, and that's not even bringing in Drew Lock and Phillip Lindsay, who've been injured but aren't on the IR. This is a broken Broncos squad. Let's move to the hapless Jets, coming up 36-7, shellacking by the Colts. That was a double up for me. My best bet of the day on Sunday was the under 14.5 points of the Jets. They did concern me a little bit when Darnold worked some magic there. It was a beautiful play to put up 7. I was like, oh, am I going to be in trouble? But not another point. Rhodes picked off Darnold, 5th play of the game, 44 yards. Darnold, 17 for 27, 168 yards, 1 TD, 3 picks. His quarterback rating was 53.2. They had 188 yards of offense in the first half. It was confusing. The game was confusing. 188 yards of offense in the first half against the Colts, and finished with 260. Gore ran 15 times for 57 yards. Balaj, 5 passes for 44 yards to lead the Jets. They opened the game without Perryman, without Jamison Crowder, without George Fant. All 3 were inactive. Mekhi Becton, their left tackle, left in the first half with the injured shoulder, didn't return. Jordan Willis, their linebacker, safety Bradley McDougall got hurt in the fourth quarter. Now, that's all the terrible, horrible news about the Jets. There's some good stuff coming. They have key players coming back. So Jamison Crowder will be in the lineup. George Fant will be in the lineup. Mekhi Becton, they're all expected to be in the lineup. Cornerback Quincy Wilson, linebacker Jordan Jenkins, safety Ashton Davis, and wide receiver Chris Hogan are expected to be in the lineup. Jeff Smith, the wide receiver, is coming off IR. So there's some hope, and that's why the market has moved towards these Jets. Bebsy, Thursday nighter, Broncos, Jets, take it away.
I mean, you have to think if the Jets are going to win a football game this year, it's got to be this week. They're at home on a short week against a absolutely damaged Broncos team with Brett Rippon at the helm. I don't know. Here's the thing. I can't personally play on this because I can't bet on the Jets. If I bet on the Jets and they lose, I'm going to hate myself for doing it. But I can't bet on Denver either. They're just so decimated with injuries. They're almost as injured as the Niners. And they're traveling on a short week. This is a stay away game for me. They're 2 garbage teams, but you got to figure if somebody's going to win, it's got to be the Jets. Because if they don't win this game, it's got to be 0-16. Where do they find another win this season if it's not against the battered Broncos on the road in a short week? The Broncos basically got to be the Jeudy show. Jerry Jeudy's like the only healthy weapon they've got right now, and who knows if Rippon can get him the ball. This is a no play for me. It's just an ugly Thursday night football game. I think we start betting on when Adam Gase is fired, and my guess is week 6. But I don't know. I'm off it, man. I have no interest in this game whatsoever.
I do. I have interest in this game. And I can understand you've been very shrewd all year. You're hitting over 75%. Why would you get involved with this bum fight? I get it. But the Jets have all these guys coming back. That's the biggest angle I see in this game.
Sure. I mean, like I said, if you're looking for an angle, there's guys coming back. They are at home. They at least have their starting quarterback. If Becton's healthy, it's a big deal because that guy, I mean, the guy's phenomenal. He is just an absolute monster. I like him. I feel bad. He feels like he's going to be DeBrickashaw Ferguson again. At least DeBrickashaw Ferguson was part of some good Jets teams, but yeah, I'm still just not interested on it for the sole reason that if I bet on the Jets and they lose, I'm going to hate myself for betting on the Jets. That's all.
Well, I know you hate Gase, but I don't think Fangio should be trusted. With 4 linebackers and 3 defensive linemen of the Broncos on the IR, Do the Jets now have a better defense than the Broncos?
They're just the Broncos are bad because of injury, and the Jets are bad because they're bad. So I don't. I mean, you could have said the same thing about the Niners versus the Giants last week, but clearly the Giants are still better. And that's the thing is Vic Fangio is not a good head coach. He's an awful head coach. But he is a phenomenal defensive coordinator, and I assume that after this season he goes back to just being a D coordinator because he was very good at that job. So they might still be able to muster up some solid defense just because of Fangio. But look, if you like this game and you see a play, I encourage it. We established and we will know going forward that I am a coward, but I do not like this game. I can see why you do. And look, there was a lot of games that I leaned towards and stayed off of last week that I would have been right had I gone with my gut. I didn't. So, take that for what it is. I see why you want to bet the Jets. Logic dictates you should bet the Jets, but I'm just not excited about this one at all.
I am going to bet the Jets. Jets money line minus 105 right now at Bet365. Wanted to talk it out, and I have. I'm on the board. All right, that is your Thursday nighter. I have moved on the Jets. Before we move on to Sunday's games, Noli knows who will be live on Betting with the Bag tomorrow and Thursday. The man who's made unders great again likes the under here. What do you think about the under that's sitting at 40?
I mean, it's two pretty inept offenses. Unless Judy and Hamler go off, I didn't mention KJ Hamler before. I like his potential. If those guys go off, maybe you could see something happening. I mean, I love Frank Gore, obviously, but he hasn't really been able to get too much going. So really, you're looking at Crowder being able to put up some points. I certainly would lean under, but they're just two ugly defenses as well. So, you know what? Unders on Thursday nights are appealing too, just because offenses don't have a ton of time to game plan. So, yeah, that could be a play here.
Dennis Garcia, whom I just love capping with, gets right to the point. How do you get 7 TDs in this game?
I mean, that's a pretty excellent way to put it. I don't see how those go around. Yeah.
All right. And overtime says Jimmy, save your unit. This game stinks. Bebsy getting a lot of love for, and I don't think it's cowardly. I've never thought you as a cowardly person. I've known you for a long time. So I think that you have a very successful record. You have a successful history in capping NFL, and this will be your most public year capping it, and you want to succeed very badly, and you're picking your spots. That's how I see it. There is Thursday nighter, Broncos, Jets. I'm on the Jets money line, and Dennis Garcia says 6. I can't do math, so it takes a little bit away from his capping right there. Okay, let's go. That is your Thursday nighter. Let's move on to the 1 o'clock games Sunday. We're going to start with a beauty, an absolute beauty. Let me pull up the market moves here. We're starting with Colts, Bears. Indianapolis, Chi-Town. Colts open up at -3. They're now 2.5. And there's -2s on the board. Let me get the totals here. Sorry, I moved off of it just to see what kind of juice I was dealing with on the money line. The total opens up at 44.5. Now we have 45s have hit the board. There still are 44.5. All right. Colts, Bears. Colts sitting 2-1. Bears 3-0. Rhodes, TJ Carey both returned picks for scores in that 36-7 win over the Jets. Colts came in with the league's top-rated defense. They dominated the Jets in all facets of the game. Rivers did things really well. He was conservative. He didn't make mistakes. He went 17 of 21 for 217 yards. They have not got Rock Ya-Sin back with a stomach illness. Ali Cox, their tight end, was a basketball player. The guy looks awesome. Just 3 catches, 50 yards, but you know he's going to be dangerous. T.Y. Hilton, 3 receptions for 52 yards. Taylor ran 13 times for 59 yards. Mac Hooker done for the season. Michael Pittman coming back in week 8. That is your Colts situation. 2-1 visiting Chicago. And then for these Bears, finally, Big Dick Nick comes in and rolls. He had 2 touchdown passes overturned, and he still comes in and goes 16 of 29 for 188 yards. They were down 16 points in the last 6.5 minutes. This team has got to believe in them. They lose Tariq Cohen with a knee injury. Also, their safety, Sherrick McManus, knocked out by a hamstring. But, man, if there was a team that you might want to buy in on now, it looks like it's the Chicago Bears with Nick Foles running the ship. I'd love to hear your look here. Colts, Bears, Bebsy, take it away.
My take on this is either you bet Big Dick Nick at home or you don't bet at all. I don't have any faith in Phillip Rivers to win a good matchup. I don't put any stock into what they did to the Jets last weekend. That means absolutely nothing for me. But I do put a little stock into, man, you got to figure the Bears just in general. That team has got to be happy that Nick is in. I think they rally around him. I think that's the only play here. You go Bears or nothing. Yeah, I simply don't have faith in Phillip Rivers. I think some of the injuries that the Colts had wouldn't show up in a game like the Jets. Rhodes isn't gonna put up I think his Pro Football Focus rating was like 93 or something. That's not what Xavier Rhodes is gonna do every week. They are gonna miss Malik Hooker this week. I don't think it's going to be a cut and dry game. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for either team. I like the Bears rallying behind Foles because they know if they win with Foles, they never have to see Mitch again. So for me, it's Bears or no play here. But I still want to see another game with Foles at the helm. I want to see if it's not just another case of the Falcons shitting the bed, or if this is for real, if Big Dick Nick is back and swinging again.
Well, I think I want to start entering the world of Birdie, who cashed on the Bears money line last week. I want the money line on the Bears because I'm not going to get the 3. And Birdie thinks that he still might get the 3. I don't see any. I think that if there's movement on this game before Sunday, I expect it to be on the Bears.
I think so too. I think if there's any movement, it's money coming in on the Bears.
And I should have moved at the 3. But I like talking, and maybe next year we got to do these games, this show right after the Monday Nighter ends.
Yeah, maybe. Like I'm watching that Pittsburgh game because to me that's an easy play right now, but that's already changing.
Yeah, it's moving fast. All right, I'm going to. There's no point for me to take a plus 2.5. Are 2.5 points worth 120? Maybe it's not enough of a money line. If we're line shopping here, let's just go over to the licensed books on the odds.com odds page. Let's go over there and see what we are getting because I'm expecting that you'll be able to get a nice plus line. If I could get plus 130 or 135, but maybe I take the 2.5 points here. Let's just go. So the spreads are all 2.5. Let's move over to money line here. This is DraftKings, FanDuel, American licensed books. And the best is plus 125. There's nothing wrong with plus 120. But I will take the 2.5 points. Bears plus 2.5. minus 110. I'm on the Bears train.
I like it, and I mean that's something I got to turn over in my head for a bit, but
what you're doing is working. And I don't want to, because I'm going to have more quantity of action than you, I don't want that to push you in any way. And you get respect from the cappers in the chat for holding back and waiting for the spots. And look, you're hitting over 75%.
Yeah, no, I'm a coward, but I won't be pushed around.
We need to make T-shirts.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
It's actually not a bad slogan.
It isn't a bad slogan. It isn't a bad slogan. Colts, Bears. I'm on Bears 2.5. Plus 120 is just not enough. Just not enough for me to take the money line there. I would have done it at plus 130. Victor Lou says Bears under. Before we decide if the under should be a look, and we are sitting at 45, tell me about the Bears defense. We know that this Colts defense looks very good, where we have a vividness bias of this Bears defense being very good. Do you think that this Bears defense is going to get better and better throughout the year and this under is in play?
Well, I think the Bears defense will get better just because they're going to have a little more rest now that Foles is extending drives instead of Mitch just, being terrible. When your offense starts playing better, your defense plays better because they get more rest. I mean, that's the thing is if you have a team that has ball control, their defense is just better automatically. They're rested. They can fire harder. I think you will see the defense improve because of Nick Foles. Something a lot of people don't look about, like they'll look at, just the players on the defensive side of the ball that make changes, but no, it has a lot to do with your offense and them staying on the field, and not just time of possession. It's actually just having your guys rested. I mean, your defense they work because they're rested, and those stars can fire off the ball and get to that quarterback. So yeah, I fully expect the Bears defense to be better moving forward.
We have great comments coming in on Nick Foles. I would like to hear your take on Nick Foles. Let me give you an idea of what the chat is saying. Steel Curtain says, do you trust Foles more against a good Colts defense, or do you trust Rivers more against a good Bears defense? That's the question. But Overtime says, everyone loves Foles till he starts. Yes, he's an upgrade from Trubisky, but he's still a backup. And Prince of the City says, Big Dick Nick sucks. Played 4 good games and was awful in Philly. Couldn't start anywhere for long. So how good is he? Can you answer that question, Bebsy? How good is he?
Well, you're right. He's not that good. If he was, he'd be a starter somewhere, and he wouldn't constantly be bouncing around. He's good in comparison to Mitchell Trubisky in that he's not a disaster. That's what I mean in Big Dick. Yeah, he went off in Philly, and obviously in the Super Bowl. And yeah, I just like saying Big Dick Nick, and I like getting behind him. So no, he's not a good quarterback. If he was a good quarterback, he wouldn't have been fighting for a job with Mitchell Trubisky. But he's better than Mitchell Trubisky.
There's no doubt about that. And he's able to capture momentum, and he's able to have a team that believes in him. Backdoor cover says Foles won't last. Watching the Colts beat up on the Jets, man, that didn't do a ton for me. I watched that game very closely because I had the under and the Jets team total under. But they lose.
The Niners' second and third string players massacred the Jets. The Jets they're just a bad football team that's coached poorly. There's nothing you can garner from a team beating them up. Like if you beat up on the Jets, great. That's fine. All right. I don't go to elementary schools and shove kids off the swings. I could, but I don't. And that's basically what happens when you beat the Jets right now. I'm dead serious when I say that the Jets are legitimately staring at an 0-16 season if they don't win this week.
All right, I like it. And Birdie says Indy got 14 defensive points in that game. They did. Cole Coleon, the Vegas King, rolling with us. And let's close the game that I'm betting on the Bears plus 2.5. let's close it up with take it easy. He says he can make the necessary throws. We're talking about Nick Foles here to extend drives, like Bebsy was saying. That helps the defense catch a breather. Mitchell makes too many mistakes, whereas Foles hits the safe passes. Let's move on to Jaguars, Bengals. Jaguars, Bengals. This total, Bebsy, is skyrocketed up. Opened at Bet365 at 44.5. It's 49 there now. It's 49.5 at some books. Cincinnati opens up at -3. The a leading indicator offshore book has already moved it to 3.5. Minshew and the Jags looked awful in that loss at home to the Dolphins on Thursday night. I was on them, made me look like a clown. Minshew completed 30 of 42 passes for 275 yards, 2 turnovers. Conley dropped 2 passes that would have been first downs. He looked bad. Cam Robinson, whom they need, got ejected, and I don't think he should have been ejected. I think it was just that
was soft.
It was bad. It was a referee who gets pushed around by his wife and took it out on
you
Cam
can take
Robinson.
that to the bank.
It was absolute bullshit, but it's another point. CJ Henderson looked bad, and I know he's going to have missteps as a young cornerback, but he looked bad. And they lose Leon Jacobs for the season. Everything went wrong. Not everything. A lot went wrong. James Robinson looked good. Injury-wise, they lose safety Andrew Wingard. We just talked about Leon Jacobs. And DJ Shark didn't play. He's expected to play this week. Let's move over to the Bengals. And the question is, it's always going to come back to the Eagles. Seems so often. How good or bad are the Eagles? Burrow tosses a pair of touchdown passes to Higgins, 23-23 tie with the Eagles on Sunday. He goes 31-44 for 312 yards. He got sacked 8 times. He's been pretty impressive. Pretty impressive under that kind of heat. I mean, Mixon couldn't run. 17 runs for 49 yards. Tyler Boyd caught 10 passes for 129 yards. And all of a sudden, John Ross is a healthy scratch, which is wild. And Geno Atkins still out with the shoulder injury. They desperately need him back. Jaguars, Bengals, Bebsy, take it away.
I'm kind of lockstep with Dennis Garcia here. If there was a play, it was the points, and it's gone. And also, I can't bet on Burrows until he wins a game. It's just this again is just another ugly game for me that I'm not interested in at all. I was off the Jags last week because they were favored. Now they're back into being the underdog, but I still just don't like it. There's nothing that jumps out to me for this game, especially with the point total going up so fast. But again, it's a no play for me. Maybe CJ Henderson bounced back. Maybe people learned how to get to him. I don't know. These are 2 teams I don't know a ton about yet. I do know. I do know that they're not good football teams, but they're 2 not good football teams. And this is a really hard week. There's not a lot of spots I love that I outright like, and this definitely isn't one of them.
Yeah. Do you think, though, that there's a bias in play right now with the Jaguars? Everything went wrong for them. Everything went wrong. They get killed on the Thursday nighter with everyone watching. And now they're soon going to be 3.5-point dogs to a Bengals team that doesn't know how to win.
Yeah, and again, I like the Jags when they're the underdog. It feels like that's where Minshew wants to play from. He wants to play when they're not getting respected. And they don't have any pressure on them. Like I've said this a few times, this is a team that's expected to be terrible. So any wins they get are a bonus. So that's a dangerous team. Like you always fear the guy who's got nothing to lose, and that's Minshew right now. On the other side of the ball, though, Burrow has played well despite getting knocked around. Is he going to be the next Andrew Luck? A guy who's incredible, yet has a garbage team with no O-line that just gets him beat up. He's been sacked 8 times already. He's going to get killed. It's just another ugly game I'm just not interested in. And this is a very, very tough week with not a lot of obvious plays. Obviously, I'm going to stay glued to it as the week goes, but I was looking at this line when it came out, and there was very, very few that jumped out at me.
It just feels like I'd love to hear what Birdie has to say about this. It just feels like a spot where there's a bias going on about what the Jaguars did on Thursday night, and now they've had extra time to prepare.
Overtease asking, what does Burrow have to lose? Just the pressure of being the number 1 overall pick. Gardner Minshew was not expected to be a starter at all. So he doesn't – he's got – and they were already talking about tanking for Trevor. Like, that guy basically is a temp. So he has nothing to lose. Burrow has the pressure of being that number 1 overall draft pick. You talk to those guys or you listen to them in interviews. I've never talked to them personally. But that stress, that added stress of being the number 1 overall pick is some guys overcome it, some guys don't. So that's what he has to lose, looking bad as the number 1.
I think that was a great answer. There's one offshore that's been hanging the 3.5. They've been hanging the 3.5 since the opening line, and that's going to go away. That plus 3.5 opened at minus 105 for them. Now it's at minus 122. It did get up to minus 124 twice. I'd love to get a 3.5 here. North Ender likes the Jags under. No. Bologna sandwich. Bologna sandwich. No, the Bengals are the home squad here. North Ender liking the under in this spot. Cincinnati's defense kind of bent but didn't break against the Eagles. What do you think of this under now that it's all the way up to 49.5? Now, I made this mistake with the Titans-Vikings. That was one of my losses on the season, thinking that went too high. And I should have known when Eric Swiatek gave his score projection. I should have just stayed off of it. But what do you think of this total at 49?
I think it's worthwhile if it keeps going up, but I don't think it's enticing enough. I know. I think it's worth watching. If it keeps going up, like by the end of the week, maybe the under's a play. I would say not right now. But yeah, Sean Dozer said it when you said the Bengals defense bent but didn't break. Yeah, they're playing the Eagles. The Eagles are bad, and Wentz is clearly second guessing himself. He is just playing bad football right now.
I want the Jags, but I don't want to be sitting here with a play on every game. I'm not going to pull the trigger at this point. We will do a review, and maybe a trigger is pulled during the show. Let's move on to Browns, Cowboys. This is going to be a fun breakdown. Cowboys opened up at -5 at Bet365. They're now at 4.5. There's 1-4 on the board. This total is sitting at 55.5. A couple books have moved it to 55. And Victor Liu, he's right. I mean, he says, well, I shouldn't say he's right yet, but what he's saying is bet everything under. The book going to throw high totals on everything. What we're seeing is without the crowd noise, the visiting team is able to call audibles, do whatever they need to do at the line of scrimmage, and points are being scored. Let's talk about Browns Cowboys here. 2-1 Browns, 1-2 Cowboys. Baker Mayfield threw 2 touchdown passes. Chubb ran for 2 more. Garrett looked like number 1 overall pick that he is in their 34-20 win over the Washington football team on Sunday. Chubb, 108 yards, 19 carries. Garrett's strip sack was monstrous. He just looked dominant. Throughout. And this Browns team is getting healthy. So Denzel Ward is still an issue. He started after being listed as questionable, but he didn't play in the second half. So he's got a groin issue. JoJo Natson will have an MRI on his knee, but the issues that they had in the first week of the season and partially in the second week of the season are gone, other than Denzel Ward. Browns are a dangerous dog. Now let's talk about the Cowboys. Prescott, 37 of 57, 472 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 38-31 loss at Seattle. Career highs for yards and attempts. Elliott finishes with 34 yards on 14 carries. He's not looked good this year. Aldon Smith, Bebs, we know this guy well. And man, did he bring back memories. 3 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 4 quarterback hits in the pass defense. Jeez, Aldon Smith. But Van Der Esch, collarbone out for 6 to 8 weeks. Sean Lee, 6 weeks. They have issues, and they have Joe Thomas starting in their place, a middle linebacker.
When is Sean Lee not hurt?
Yeah. And you said this about Van Der Esch when he was drafted. Are the Browns a live dog, Bebsy?
I think it's Browns or no play for me. Just that the points that the Browns are being given in this is almost disrespectful. It's hard to say that, as you probably should disrespect the Browns. They've really, throughout the return of their franchise, have given you no other reason but to disrespect them. And I just don't think the Cowboys are a good team. It's year after year you hear, oh, this Cowboys team is different. This Cowboys team is great. No, they're not. They're still not a good football team. They still can't put it together. Their best player on defense is a guy who hasn't played in 5 years. This Browns play is very enticing for me right now. There's no value in putting money on Dallas for me. This might be a play for me. I feel like I need to think about this a little bit, but if anything, I am on the Browns here. I like them a lot more going into this week. And especially just being disrespected. Again, feels weird saying disrespected about the Browns, but just the way this opened, I like the Browns. I have no faith in the Cowboys.
I don't see how we don't take the Browns with the points here. I do not think this. I think this is going to be down to 3.5 by kickoff, certainly 4. And sometimes I need to talk these out loud. And also, I think that's going to change as we move forward. We're getting through. NHL's done. We're getting through MLB. NBA's almost done, and it's going to be all football all the time until NCAA basketball starts. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. Trem Bologna Sandwich says, I think Mayfield just collapses. I don't think he does. I think he's got having Chubb. Take it away, Bebsy.
Well, you were just going to say what I was going to say. Having Chubb and Hunt means you don't have to worry about Mayfield collapsing, especially against a team I don't believe can stop the run with Lee and Van Der Esch out. Just, hand that ball off. Ride those 2 running backs. You have that good 1-2 punch, and just make Mayfield not screw up that much. That's the game plan going forward for them.
I've moved. Well, I haven't bet yet. And you guys know, those of you who've been watching before, if you're watching now, I will get the line that I bet. I bet 365 will be my official line that I get. I'm going to take the Browns plus 4.5. We line shop for Bebsy on the legal licensed books. All right. I'm in. Browns plus 4.5. Bebsy, can you touch on this total here? High. We have high totals. This is one of them, 55 or 55.5.
Yeah, it's a very high total, and I appreciate it being high, and that the Dallas defense is very easy to score on right now. So, yeah, I feel like it's going to be high, but this is a very high total. So, I don't have any interest really in the points total, but I think I gotta make Cleveland one of my official picks here. It's just too enticing right now.
Well, let's see what I can offer you. Maybe that will help you make a decision here. We're on the odds page here at odds.com. For the Browns, there are, wow, that's crazy. There's a 5.5 on the board at Fox Bet. It's nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
You got to take that.
Fox Bet is at 5.5. Bet Rivers has a 5. All the other books are at 4.5. Wow, that Fox Bet's that's not going to be long around for long. Would you like Fox Bets plus 5.5 at minus 110, Debsy?
Lock it in for me, buddy. I like that too much. That's too nice to stay away from.
All right. Fox Bet plus 5.5 at minus 110. Fox Bet. Jeez, that was shocking. And then I'm a plus 4.5. And when we had this issue, Maceo absolutely best bet at the end. Oh God, gas station. I would never do a show up against your horse capping show, but we do have an opening line show here every Tuesday. I would never do that on purpose, gas station. Ever. I'm going to move on the 4.5 at minus 110. And what I was about to say before gas station said, am I doing a show straight up against our horse capping show? Come on, gas station. This is not trying to. I want more people to bet on horses, not less. The Falcons in week 1, I didn't take because I could only get the 4 and not the 6 that Bebsy got, and I stayed off of it. All right. I'm not going to make that mistake here. I'm going to still follow through with the 4.5 minus 110 on the Browns. Okay, let's move on to Saints-Lions. Saints-Lions up next. Let's see what we are dealing with here. New Orleans opens up at minus 4. There's 4.5 on the board. This total opens up at 55.5. There's 54s and 54.5. Alvin Kamara was spectacular again. 197 yards from scrimmage. Scored twice. Looked dominant in their 37-30 loss at home to Green Bay. Breeze, 29 of 36, 288 yards, 3 TDs. They lose left guard Andrews Pete, carted off the field after Kamara was tackled into the offensive lineman's lower legs. Michael Thomas is hoping for week 4. He's hoping to get back for a week 4 return. And I do think he's going to be back. He was held out week 3 and was ruled out late with that high ankle sprain. Traquan Smith has the edge over Emmanuel Sanders as the number 1 receiver, so it'd probably be Traquan and Michael Thomas. Let's talk about the Lions. Your spidey sense was tingling, man. You felt uncomfortable with your Cardinals minus 5.5, and the Lions showed why. Stafford looked very strong. It was a huge win for Patricia, an absolutely enormous win for the coach. Now 10-24-1 record in 2+ seasons. Stafford goes 22 of 31 for 207 yards, 2 TDs and 0 interceptions. And Golladay comes back after missing the first 2 games. He led the NFL with 11 receiving touchdowns last year. He looked very good. 6 catches for 57 yards. Peterson, 27-yard run to get the game going. 22 carries for 75 yards. Bebsy, take it away, Saints-Lions.
Look, Alvin Kamara has looked fantastic. Breeze has not. Even when Breeze's numbers look good, if you watch the game, he hasn't. He misses Thomas a lot, but also he just doesn't. That arm's not there, and I don't care what anybody says about him right now. If you're a huge Breeze fan and you want to talk about his greatness, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying right now, I don't have any faith in Breeze the same way I don't have any faith in Rivers. So I'm not super interested in this play. To me, it's Detroit or nothing, just because how long can you just rely on Alvin Kamara? You finally saw Sanders get into the game last week, but why did it take so long? Why did you get him if you weren't going to use him? I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Breeze can't get him the ball in those deep routes. He looks tired. He looks old. They need to either get more games with or plays with Taysom Hill out there, giving him more rest, or I don't know what. But I really not interested in the Saints, especially if we're uncertain about that. This is a pass for me. Or like if you're looking to make a bet on this and if you're dying, I'm saying put it on Detroit. But for me, it's a pass.
Does seem tricky. It does feel like a spot where we don't know what New Orleans, we don't know how good they are, and Detroit might be overvalued after that big win against Arizona. What do you think of this total opening up at 51, opening up at 55.5, now sitting at 54.5?
I mean, the big thing for me is it shouldn't have been a surprise, but really New Orleans, everything has to run through Kamara right now, especially with Thomas out. So if you stop Kamara, you stop the ball for New Orleans. So if Matt Patricia's worth his salt, that's where you're going to focus on it. And if they can slow him down, then that's the only way they're moving the ball right now, as far as I'm concerned. I don't like this game at all. I need to see more from Breeze. I need to see a healthy Michael Thomas. I'm off it, not interested. Don't like the point total because look, we all know the Saints have firepower. We all know they can put up points, but are they going to? Is Detroit going to muster up points as well? This is there's too many unknowns for me in this game. I'm off it. I'm not interested.
We have no move, Saints, Lions, and I completely understand it. All righty, let's move on. Birdie says the issue is not Breeze. The issue is how undisciplined they have been. They're taking way too many penalties. Lions got 3 picks last week. That won't happen again this week. This is a must-win. This is a stay-off game for us at this point. Let's move on to Steelers-Titans, and I don't know how much we should break this game down with the COVID issues that Tennessee's facing. I don't even know if this game is going to go off. NFL says it will go off. Tennessee opens up at -1. The market's moving very quickly in the Steelers' direction with the announcement of who is going to be unavailable for the Titans. So that's what's going on right now. Let's talk about it, but not dig too deep. Steelers shut down the Texans, completely shut them down in the second half. It was incredible. Great call on your part, Bebsy. They 51 yards and 2 first downs for the Texans over the final 30 minutes. Roethlisberger, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. Connor goes for 109 yards. Anthony McFarland makes his NFL debut, 6 carries for 42 yards. Deontay Johnson left due to a concussion, unsure how he will be. Titans 3-0 and have a net scoring margin of 6 points. It's crazy. Gostkowski, 6th field goal at 55 yards with 1:44 left. I mean, he stepped up in a big way. Tannehill throws for 321 yards. Another comeback win for them. I mean, just unbelievable. Titans are 12-4 behind Tannehill. He looks so good. They're 15-0 when Henry runs for 100 yards. He rushed 26 times for 119 yards. They lose left tackle Taylor Lewin. Hurt his shoulder late in the first. And Vic Beasley came back from his knee injury and was barely played. I don't know what the issue. It could be knee related. Steelers, Titans, babe. Bebsy, take it away.
This to me is a no-brainer. I wish I would have got on when the Titans were still the favorite. Pittsburgh through and through is just a better football team. COVID problems or not, the Steelers have a better defense top to bottom, and they're a very solid offense to complement a fantastic defense. I can't figure out why people are so slow to get on the Steelers this year. Look, they were on fire down the stretch last year and nearly squeaked into the playoffs, and I don't think any team wanted to see them in the playoffs last year. They are so good on defense, and now with Roethlisberger back, I mean, he's been playing well, and he doesn't really even need to. He just needs to game manage with how good that defense is. This to me is an easy play. I'm on the Steelers, no question here.
Steelers, no question here. And get in as soon as possible, because at this point, money's just going to be pouring in on the Steelers with all the Titans' issues. The best line we can give you is a -2, a -110. That's a Bet Rivers, DraftKings, and Bet MGM. Would you like that -2?
Yeah, that's all really the best. It's gone that much. I thought Bet 365 is still at 1.5.
I will check because that is a licensed book. Let me pull up the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Sorry. Where the hell are they? No, it's off the board.
Makes sense. I will still take them at 2, though. I like this too much.
All right, -2, a -110, and that is available at DraftKings. -2 at -110. And with the COVID-related stuff going on, do you think this game goes off?
What I heard today was that the NFL informed the Steelers to prepare for a game.
Yeah.
Proceed as if there will be a game. So we haven't seen this yet. We've seen, obviously there were 2 players on the Falcons last week, but we haven't seen 8. Was it 8 players? I think 8 players testing positive on the Titans, and then obviously the Vikings are now in question because they played. But I don't know we haven't seen this yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. But if it does happen, I'm sorry, I just like the Steelers too much here.
Yeah, it's not available for me. So you'll get your -2, -110. I get it. I'll see if it becomes available for us. Brooklyn Funk Project joining us. Thank you for joining us, Pete. Says, what can we do to bolster the support for you guys? Man, just do what you're doing right now. Cap with us and tell your friends to do it as well. All right, let's move on to our next spot, Seahawks, Dolphins. Seahawks, Dolphins, see what we are dealing with. Bet 365 opened up Seattle -7 at even money. It's now 6.5. There's 1-7 left on the board. This total opened up at 54.5, and that's where it stands right now. It stands at 54.5. Wilson threw 5 touchdown passes, set a record for most scoring passes first 3 games of the season with 14. He looks spectacular. 27 of 40 for 315 yards. Lockett sets a career high with 3 TD receptions, 9 catches for 100 yards. But, and there's a massive but, which makes me want to take the Dolphins here, as this is a tricky road spot for Seattle. They suffered big injuries. Jamal Adams, Chris Carson, Adams with a groin strain early in the 4th, pulled himself from the game, limping on the sideline. I don't expect him to be rushed back. He's too important to the team. Carson suffers a sprained knee. Seattle lost both starting guards. Mike Iupati with a sprained knee. Damian Lewis with a sprained ankle in the first half. Then rookie linebacker Jordan Brooks comes in. He sprains his knee. Dolphins coming off 31-13 win in Jacksonville. They look very good. We've already spoken about that game briefly, but a lot went wrong for the Jags in that spot. Fitzpatrick goes 18 for 20, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Man, hard to not cheer for the guy when you watch him. He's playing well. He's playing with fire. He's 37, and he's the only guy over 30 on that football team.
Fitzpatrick you want to cheer for because he doesn't feel like a pro athlete. He feels like your buddy Doug that, all their quarterbacks got hurt and Doug was sitting in the front row and the coach is like, you look like you could chuck a ball, and Doug got in there and he's pretty decent. That's why we all love Fitzy. To me, this feels like a letdown game for Seattle. It really does. Not just because of the injuries, just because of the way they've been flying so high. I'm off this game. When it first came out, I was like, man, that's I want Seattle in this. Their offense has been so potent, and they're probably still going to roll. The Carson injury hurts, but they still have Carlos Hyde, who I think has never been given a fair shake, even though he goes and gets it done wherever he goes. He overachieves. I still like him, but I mean, it's hard to bet on Miami in this spot, but I also think it's a letdown game for Seattle. I'm off it for that reason.
I have to take the Dolphins here. With the injuries the Seahawks have, now traveling, Dolphins feel so good about themselves. They're buying Flores' literature, man.
You know what? I agree with you. I think they believe in Flores, and it makes them a better team in these tough games. But it's so hard to bet against Seattle right now, the way Wilson is playing. It's like Wilson feels slighted about the 0 MVP votes and injuries to his O-line. When is that? He's never had an O-line. It doesn't matter who you put out in front of him. So for that reason, I can't bet on Miami, but it does feel like a letdown spot. So for that reason, I can't bet on Seattle. But if you force me to make a pick, it wouldn't be on Miami. And Jimmy, I know you like to play, and I know I get why you're doing this here, and I appreciate why you're doing this. I just can't.
I understand. North Ender says Byron will lock up Metcalf. Is he going to be playing? Because he had a groin / Achilles tendon injury. Number one quarterback, Byron Jones. Look, if North Ender, if your idea is that Byron will lock up Metcalf, that's why you want to make the bet, I would pump the brakes there, because I don't know if Byron Jones is playing. Do you know, Bebsy, if Byron Jones will be in the lineup?
I have not heard, but if he is, he won't be playing at 100%.
So that is a concern. Saying X can also.
Joseph
cover.
Gomez is saying, "What's the Seattle D against opposing tight end Gesicki? Will need to go off." That's the thing, is the only real strength left in the Seattle D is their linebackers. So I don't expect a huge game for Gesicki. Although I'm super high on him. I was high on him in the draft. He's a physical freak, and this seems to be his coming out party so far this year. Just don't love this play at all.
Well, I'm going to pull the trigger. Here. Dolphins plus 6.5 at -110. We have 3 more. 4 more 1 o'clock games. Okay, let's speed it up. My fault for humming and hawing in some of these situations. Although we did cross the 2.5 hour mark last week. Chargers, Buccaneers. This one really, really hurt me on Sunday. I was so close to the Panthers. Talked it out throughout. Now, part of the idea why I wanted to fade the Chargers was I thought Herbert would spend a week thinking about it and struggle. And I don't know if you can say that he struggled. He certainly struggled in the red zone. But 35 of 49 for 330 yards and a touchdown. Fumble, a pick. But it wasn't – I don't know. Well, I'll let you talk about Herbert and what you thought of his performance. Allen had 13 receptions for 136 yards and a TD. Eckler, 159 yards from scrimmage. Cornerback Chris Harris, ankle injury. Brian Bulaga, offensive tackle, back injury. Mike Williams, hamstring injury. They were all injured in the second half and did not return. Joe Yurkovich saying Dolphins should go to 7. You know what? That's very interesting, Joe. I don't know if they will. I want to talk so badly about Chargers Buccaneers, but I have to bring that up. Do you think that the Seahawks Dolphins end up at +7? Bebsy?
Isn't some of it going that way?
There's 1-7 on the board right now, but let me just see some of these indicator books. No, the 7s are gone is what's happening. And moving to 6.5s. Maybe the public will get in. Tommy Bolt can get a 7 right now. All right. I love Joe Yurkovich, and He's a sharp dude. And Joe Yurkovich on our show on Tuesday, he said, or maybe it was Sunday, but he said, take the Buccaneers first quarter -1.5. Man, that was a walk in the park. Let's talk about these Buccaneers. Brady throws for 297 yards, 3 TDs, 28-10 win over the Broncos in Denver. 8 different players caught passes, led by Scotty Miller, 3 catches for 83 yards. Gronk got into the act, 6 catches for 48 yards. Ronald Jones runs 13 times for 53 yards. And the most incredible stat, Bebsy, first time in almost 10 years, Buccaneers won back-to-back games by 14 or more points. Shaq Barrett looks like a monster again. Led last year with 19.5 sacks. Picked up his first sacks of the season. Godwin left with a hamstring injury in the second half. Cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting was ruled out with a groin hamstring injury. But these Buccaneers look tough. And I still don't know what to make of these Chargers. What do you think happens here? Let me give you the market again. Tampa Bay at -7 or 7.5, and this total has dropped 2 points from 45.5 to 43.5. Take it away, Bebsy.
Well, you're uncertain about the Chargers, and I'm uncertain about career game manager Tom Brady with his new team. I'm still not sold on what Tom is going to do down in Tampa. Also, Godwin, I'm pretty sure is listed as doubtful for this weekend. It looks like Godwin's out. He's such an important piece of that offense. Can we get so excited about the Bucs beating the Broncos? Like, the Broncos are terrible. I'm not excited about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just because they've beat some not very good football teams so far. Well, I mean, the Broncos are a terrible football team. What's to get excited? No, I didn't write them off. I just said I wasn't interested in them. I'm not interested in them in this week either. I just this isn't a team that appeals to me too much. Let's see what Brady does with the likes of Ingram and Bosa coming off the edge, coming at him. He's going to have a lot of pressure. I don't know how many 1-yard touchdowns he's going to be able to throw this week. They have a ton of weapons right now, and that's the strength of that offense. And the Tampa Bay defense is better than people give them credit for because all the talk comes in the other way. So I'm just not super interested in this game at all.
Dennis Garcia says Tampa Bay 350 yards of offense, 5.4 yards per play, very average, likes the under. What do you think of this total? Because the Chargers have a nice defense, but it's already dropped 2 points, 43.5. So at that point, and we're using Bet365 opening lines, which are conservative. So if Bet365 has already gone 2 points, I'm not going to jump in. I've missed the spot. But what do you think of this total at 43.5?
If anything, I like the under. Just because who knows what Herbert's going to do again. You know, they get another week of film on the kid. I like you, thought the best thing about his first game was that he didn't know he was playing. And he surprised me this week. He played better. I thought it was going to be a mess for him this past week. I thought he played fairly well. I just don't see them putting up a ton of points. And I can see this Chargers D, even with the injuries, I can see them. I can see them getting to Brady. Look, Brady's unbelievable at getting the ball out quickly, so that pass rush might be void. But we'll see. It's a sit back and watch. Is Melvin Ingram out too?
It's Melvin Ingram out. Let me pull that up.
I knew Harris was out, but I didn't know Ingram was out as well.
I can pull this up as we speak on it. So if you had a free play, it's the under.
I love how easy it is to rile up Brady fans.
Melvin Ingram, the last word on him is, yes, injured reserve.
Oh, man. How did I miss that? Ugh, that might change things.
Injured reserve next 3 games.
Oh, okay, short-term IR. All right.
Yeah. I mean, they can still.
Dennis Garcia said it, not me. Getting the ball out quick is Captain Checkdown Tom Brady's specialty. He's right. Can't argue that.
Chargers Bucks, no play at this point from Bebsy. And we only have one look so far for Bebsy on the board. But we have another show Sunday, and Bebsy has all week to add plays to his.
No, I got two. I'm on Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Oh shit, you're on Pittsburgh. But I don't know. Sorry, I don't. I have a feeling like that game's not going to be played. But we'll know in the next 48 hours, and locking in your -2 at -110 makes sense. We got Dutch Boy Fresh in the chat. Dutch Boy Fresh going to be seen on Betting with the Bag on Friday, Game 2 NBA Finals, and he has started the year 7-1 in the NFL. Let's move on to Ravens, Washington Football Club. The Ravens disappointed a lot of people, and they're still 13-point favorites on the road against the Skins. This total is sitting at 47, and it hasn't moved. Lamar Jackson still can't seem to throw in the most important situations. 15 of 28 for 97 yards. Still ran for 83 yards. Disappointing 34-20 loss at home versus the Chiefs. Their defense couldn't get stops, and Jackson couldn't move the ball through the air. Dobbins led all receivers with 4 catches for 38 yards. Edwards, Gus ran 4 for 39. Ingram 7 for 30. Washington lost Chase Young to apparent groin injury in that 34-20 loss at Cleveland. He wasn't making much of an impact before he got hurt. Maybe he was already a little bit hurt. Haskins throws 2 TD passes to Inman, but 2 picks before halftime. He ends up 21 of 37 for 224 yards, 2 TDs, 3 picks. McLaren goes 4 receptions for 83 yards. Antonio Gibson 9 times for 49 yards on the ground. And Inman hurt his wrist in the fourth quarter. We are unsure how bad that is. And it was just an ugly performance by the Skins and an ugly performance by the Ravens. What do you do with this 13-point spread, Bebsy? What do you do?
I mean, it's a big spread, but what do the Ravens do against bad teams? They smash bad teams. That's the big difference, is they kind of fold against bigger, better talent. I mean, obviously it's going to be harder games, but they seem to go off on bad teams. Like, you saw what they did week 1 against Cleveland. They just bowled them over. They destroyed them. But when they play a team that matches them, they got away from their game plan super quick. Like, their game plan should have been, run the ball down the Chiefs' throat, but they got away from that early. So this kind of feels like the Ravens just should go off in this game. Like, get it all out. They're mad. They lost a big game. They're going to bounce back. All that Washington team has is a front seven. That's it. They don't have much of a secondary. They don't have much of an offense at all. It's got to be the Ravens come out firing. If anything, I think a play here might be a first half total for Baltimore.
Interesting. Well, let me see what I can pull up for you. We got 3-way totals. The first half total for Baltimore right now is 14.5. That's juiced to the under. So you get even money at Bet365 on the first half over 14.5. Let me see what I can get in some other spots. First half line is 6.5 for the Ravens. First quarter is -3 at -120 for the Ravens. What of those bets that I just offered up pique you the most?
I think I like a first half total for the Ravens, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what will happen throughout the course of the entire game, but a first half total is appealing to me.
Well, first half team total at 14.5 at +100 at Bet365. Would you like to make that an official pick?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. First half team total at 14.5 at +100. It's available at Bet365. First half team total over 14.5. This is what Birdie says. He says, I disagree a bit, Bebsy. He says, that was a massive letdown. This is not a play, but it will be on a parlay. He says, Washington money line is very live. What do you think of that?
I respect Birdie, and I saw his card before, and I wish I had the stones Birdie did, but does. And I like that take. I don't think he's wrong. It's hard to argue with him there.
So if you like that take, do you think that the deflated Ravens defense could allow scores? Washington could put some points on the board here?
I think the over is in play.
Over is in play. 47. Interesting. This is one of the games where there's been no moves.
Look, if this Ravens team goes off, they could get to close to 40 themselves, or they could get 40.
This is an angry squad. First quarter, first half is something that I find appealing. The issue is if they cover first quarter, first half, they're probably just going to go ahead and demolish. And Birdie, can you explain yourself a little more? Because you thought it was a letdown spot sort of I wouldn't say letdown spot for the Ravens, but they were set up to fail a little bit because they looked so good in their first two games. And then they played this Chiefs team that was clearly looking ahead when they played the Chargers. Now we have a Ravens team embarrassed. We have their star quarterback destroyed in the press.
See, I don't think it was a letdown game for the Ravens either. I didn't bet it, but I said I leaned Chiefs. I still think the Chiefs are a better football team than the Ravens. The Ravens hype train got going too much. We talked about how much people think they know about teams after 2 weeks, when the truth is we're still figuring a lot of them out. Obviously, those two teams we know a lot about. We know the Ravens. There hasn't been much change. If anything, they got better. But so did the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't lose anybody, and they added Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I found it strange that it was a favor for the Ravens. That has to be just because of the home field advantage. But again, home field advantage isn't the same this year. So I don't think it was a letdown. I agree with you, Jimmy. I think the Ravens were set up to fail. They were put in a bad spot.
Well, interesting. Birdie says they were gutted last night, and they lost to the Browns last year at home in this spot after a loss. Nutflush on says, I don't think Harbaugh was willing to lay a lot out in week 3. Elliot V says, Bebsy looks like a WWE wrestler.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing, man. It's got to be a good thing.
I don't know, man. A lot of those guys are run down and addicted to pills. Is that what you're saying?
Late in their career.
Yeah, what do you mean? Like an active WWE wrestler, or like, Greg the Hammer Valentine?
The Hammer.
Guy's
a
master now.
Well, I'm very interested in the first quarter, first half. In fact, I'm more interested in the first quarter. I guess maybe I'm more interested in the first quarter. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw, but I will have time to make some decisions as we break down the other games. All right, let's go up to the next 1 o'clock game, that being Cardinals-Panthers. Cardinals-Panthers, interesting spot. Arizona opens up at -3.5. The board is all over the map here. You can get 3s, you can get 3.5s, and you can get 4s. This total opened up at 51.5. Now there's 52s and 52.5s. Nutflush on says, just back to the last game, says, where can you get the Ravens team total at? I can get the Ravens team total. I gave you the first half team total, but the full game team total is at 30.5 for the Baltimore Ravens, 30.5. All right, Cardinals-Panthers. Cardinals lost 26-23 at home to the Lions on Sunday. Murray throws 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, runs for a score, but throws 3 picks. Hopkins, 10 passes, catches, catches, 10 passes for 137 yards. Isabella, 2 TD receptions. Kenyon Drake, 18 for 73. Buda Baker hurts his thumb. He's going to have surgery on his thumb and will miss at least one game. And Chris Banjo left the game early in the second quarter with a hamstring injury. Let's move to the Panthers. And this is the one that got away, man. I wanted them bad, but looking back at the game, it really, I thought their offense was still going to be able to move the ball, and we know that the Chargers have a good defense, but 22 of 28, 235 yards for Teddy Bridgewater. The Panthers had not recorded a sack in the first 2 games and had allowed 65 points in the first 2 games. They looked much better. They sacked Justin Herbert twice, 3 turnovers. They only averaged 3.9 yards per carry without McCaffrey. Mike Davis had 91 yards from scrimmage, 46 rushing, 45 receiving, and they lost cornerback Dante Jackson, hurt his toe, and did not return. We have one team, the Panthers, feeling good about themselves. Another team, the Cardinals, very angry. What do you think here, Bebsy? Cardinals, Panthers.
I think the fact that these lines are all over the board is a pretty good indication of that nobody really knows what to expect from either one of these teams. Talk Sports with JT has mentioned twice now the Cards defense sucks. He's not wrong. I don't. There was a lot of buzz about their additions on defense, but they're not a scary defense to me. I don't see the love affair with them, and it's why I got apprehensive about last week. I felt like it was a trap game. I was right. I should have listened to myself, my own apprehension. Both of these teams have so much uncertainty with them right now. For that, I'm not interested in this game. If anything, I'm leaning towards the Panthers kind of rallying around McCaffrey's absence. I was right and wrong about how they would do without McCaffrey. I was wrong in the sense that they rallied and won. I was right in the sense that their running game was pretty much atrocious without him. So there's no play here for me. I don't like it. Clearly the books don't like it because they're like you said, it's all over the place. Just not interested in this game. Maybe the Cards bounce back this week. Maybe not. There's so much buzz around Cliff Kingsbury, but Cliff Kingsbury has not had a winning season since his first year as a head coach in college, and I think he was like 8-5. So I'm not high on them. I'm high on Kyler Murray. I think he's phenomenal, and the league obviously loves him too because you can't touch him without a flag. But for me, there's no play. I lean Panthers, but nothing super interesting for me here.
Yeah, it seems sort of like a stay off as well. And my guy FM says if Zona beats San Francisco, they can win versus Carolina.
But if you watch that game, it's not like they beat San Francisco. San Francisco beat themselves that game. They looked like the better team from start to finish, even with their injuries. And quite frankly, in the middle of that game, penalties put them all the way down the field for a score. It was just not. That's a very misleading game, and I think people are so high on on Arizona because they won that game. But if you watched it, you would not feel that way. Steel Curtain 1, yes. This is an absolutely brutal week to bet. There is not much jumping out at me. I stared at this all afternoon, and there wasn't much that jumped out at all.
It feels like Cardinals should be able to bounce back here, but I don't trust them on the road coming out east. So let's move on to the final 1:00 game on the card, Bebsy. That being Vikings-Texans. Vikings look better, but they're still 0-3 and in shape for a bad season.
Birdie does love this week. His card was full. Man, you're seeing something I'm not, man, and hats off to you.
There's a bunch of looks that I like on this card, and I'm going to pull the trigger on some of those that I was just about to. I'm going to pull the trigger. I still don't know what to do on that Ravens spot. I'm going to spend a little more time on it. Minnesota-Houston total opens up at 52. It's now at 54.5. The Texans open up at -4. This is another spot where the market's all over the board. You can get 3.5, you can get 4, and you can get 4.5 on Houston. Vikings played much better D, still put up an L. Dalvin Cook rushes for a career high 181. Rookie Justin Jefferson, 7 catches for 175 yards. They're 0-3 for the first time since 2013, the year before Zimmer was hired. Cousins throws for 251 yards and 3 scores. I didn't really like his interview after the game, but it's a tough spot. But it was so simple and so vanilla and just didn't show passion. They have no Danielle Hunter, neck injury, Anthony Barr, pectoral. Now, cornerback Mike Hughes, cornerback Cameron Dinsler on the inactive list. Those are 4 starters that they were expecting to play a big part. Now let's go to the Texans. Very tough first 3 games. Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers. I mean, if I was a coach and I had to play those 3 teams, I'd like to start the year with them. Let's get slapped in the face and understand how much better we need to become. And that's what's happened. In 2018, they opened 0-3. They rallied to win the AFC South. They got destroyed in the second half. We talked about it a little earlier in that Steelers game, but 51 yards on 2 first downs. I mean, that's a bad second half. Watson goes 19-27 for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Cobb catches 4 passes for 95 yards. Fuller catches 4 passes for 54 yards. David Johnson looks like the David Johnson that we remembered him being, not the one that Bill O'Brien traded DeAndre Hopkins for. 13 rushes for 23 yards. And J.J. Watt was very angry vocally about their defense wilting under the pressure late in the games, letting the opposition run the ball down their throat, and they lost their safety, A.J. Moore, to a hamstring injury. You've had a good read on Texans in their first 3 very difficult games. This is a tricky spot against the Vikings. Take it away, Bebsy. Vikings, Texans.
Look, it feels like it's Houston's first chance to get a win. And had the Vikings not finally played well last week, I would probably be on Houston, but are the Vikings getting it together in spite of all the injuries? Is Houston just looking awful because they're playing great teams? It's a hard play for me here. I lean Houston. I do, but there's still they haven't done much even in their losses, even in their bad games, getting pumped by better teams. They still haven't shown me enough that they're really going to be able to pull it together this year. I don't know if they're going to play for Bill O'Brien. I don't know if they hate Bill O'Brien. I know I certainly would. It's such a hard spot. I'm not super interested in this. I still think the Vikings are a bad team despite how well they played last week. Cook isn't going to go off for 181 yards on the ground again this week. Jefferson's not going to do the same thing this week. They need to get the rest of that offense rolling if they're going to succeed. But this is another COVID problem. We don't know what's going to happen with this team.
Yeah, so let's not spend too much time on it. At this point, if the game goes, I think the Texans could beat up.
Prince of the City is saying the game is off the board.
Yeah, it's off the board at Bet365 right now, but doesn't mean we just abandon it. I hear you, Prince. Off the board right now with the COVID issues that Minnesota is going to be dealing with. And if this game goes, I think those first 3 games against the toughest opposition in the league will help the Texans. We'll see if this goes. Those are the 1 o'clock games. Let's move into the 4:05 p.m. games. We have 3 games going at 4:00. No, I guess some of them are 4:25. Let's go into these 4:05 games. We're going to start with Giants Rams. I found the suicide survival, whatever you call it, pools being very easy this year, and this is a real easy look on the Rams, which I'm sure no one's used yet. Going up against the Giants here, let's see what the market is offering us. The Rams open up at -11.5. Now there's 12.5s and 13s. This total at 48 or 47.5. We'll start with the Giants. They looked awful in that 36-9 loss at home to a beaten-up Niners squad. Outgained 420 to 231. Did not run a single play in the red zone. came into the game as the NFL's lowest scoring offense. About 3 field goals by Gano. Jones goes 17 of 32 for 179 yards. He runs 5 times for 49 yards. Enjoyed trying to replace Saquon Barkley. Freeman, 5 carries for 10 yards. Gallman, 4 carries for 7 yards. And then they lose Jabril Peppers to an ankle injury. Bad stuff happening in New York. And then with the Rams, it felt like the travel got to them. They started out ice cold. They looked tired and lethargic. And then they came back with a monster move that would have been the 3rd largest comeback in NFL regular season history. And they fell just short with the Bills' 35-32 win. Allen's touchdown pass with 15 seconds left. Goff goes 23 of 32 for 321 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Aaron Donald, 2 sacks, forced an Allen fumble, looked like a monster. Cooper Kupp, 9 catches for 107 yards. Robert Woods, 5 catches for 74 yards, and they lose safety Jordan Fuller to a shoulder injury. Giants, Rams, giant favorite here in the Rams. Take it away, Bebsy.
I don't typically like playing this big of a spread, but it's hard not to take the Rams in this spot. They played well in Buffalo despite all the travel they had to do. They're back home this week. And let's just break down for a second just how bad the Giants are. The Niners were down to the 4th and 5th corners. They had Bosa's out, Thomas is out, Greenlaw is out. Some of the biggest playmakers on that 49ers defense were not there. No Richard Sherman, no Emmanuel Mosley. Witherspoon's out. They're down to Verrett, who hasn't played in 4 years, and Dante Johnson, who just should not. The only reason he's in the NFL is injuries. And by the end of that game, the Niners were just playing the rest of their backups. We're going to probably see New York with the 1st and 2nd pick this year. The Jets and Giants are picking 1 and 2. Man, they looked awful. They are also hurt. Obviously, Saquon is Shepard's still out. I mean, this is a healthy Rams squad. What do you think Aaron Donald is going to do to Daniel Jones? Aaron Donald might have 5 sacks. Rookie Javon Kinlaw was tossing the interior linemen of the Giants around. What is Aaron Donald going to do? I think if you're a Giants fan, you start praying for Danny Dimes right now that he gets out of this game healthy. It's very, very hard to not take the Rams, even at 13.
You're right. The first quarter is 3.5. The first half is 6.5, but it's heavily juiced, minus 135. That's going to move to 7 soon. The Rams just take care of business here. Is this a first half full game move?
It's hard not to take it. It's just sitting there. Like this Giants team is beyond bad. And I think the Rams are a quality team this year, at least. There might be a little too much hype on them right now, but not against this Giants team. This Giants team is bad. I don't know if they're Jets bad, but they're bad.
Yeah, I'm with Dutch. Dutch Boy Fresh sitting at 7-1 on the year right now. So I look for Rams to come out, lock in after slow start. Rams early, first quarter, first half. I don't like the 3.5s, but it's not that it's out of range. Rams first half, full game. First half for sure. Is there any concern on the full game with the backdoor cover here, Bebsy?
Look, I'm pretty sure all 9 of their points against the Niners came in the first half. They just looked deflated. I don't think so. I don't think we see a backdoor cover here because I didn't see any fight in the Giants last week. You would think coming out against a banged up Niners squad, especially with the history those two teams have, they don't like each other, that they should have had more fight. They just looked bad and got worse. Again, playing Niners backups. This Rams team, for the most part, is healthy. This should be just an absolute blowout by the Rams.
Well, there are 12.5s on the board still on the licensed American books. I'm going to pull the trigger on first half full game when this show's over. Are you going to make a move here?
What's the first half?
The first half at Bet365 is 6.5 at -135. Let's see what these books are offering up for the first half for the Rams. Wow. They've all moved to 7.5. Bet Rivers 7.5 at -129. Holy shit, Bet Rivers being hammered on this. At BetMGM 7.5 -110. At Bet365 6.5 at -135. Interesting. What are you thinking?
You saying there's still a 6.5?
At Bet365 right now, you can get them first half -6.5 at -135.
I think I'll take that 6.5, and I think I'll take the full game as well.
All right, well, let's give you the Bebsy first half -6.5. That's a lot of juice, but it's better than the 7.5. -135. Full game, I can offer you up full game here on the odds.com odds page of the Licensed American Books. I can offer you -12.5 at -110 at FoxBet and BetMGM.
Let's do that 12.5. We'll double up on this game.
All right. So let me just make sure I got all this. So that's Bet365 and -12.5. Full game is BetMGM, and that's a -110. All right. I'm in it. I'm with you. And then for me, I will be going first half and full game as well, leaving out first quarter. All righty. Let's roll. Next up, we have Patriots Chiefs. This is going to be a lot of fun. Patriots Chiefs. Is this the letdown spot for KC? They opened up at -7. It's where they stand right now, although two books have moved it to 6.5. This total sitting at 54. Let's break it down. Patriots 2-1, Chiefs 3-0. Sony Michel stepped up in a big way. So did Burkhead. So no White. His dad dies. They have a very close relationship. I thought that White would be back in the lineup. And everybody handles these things differently. If my dad died on Friday night, he would be very upset if I wasn't playing in a game Saturday morning. That's how I was raised. But everybody handles these things differently, and there's no right or wrong or anything like that. But they fought for their brother who is, obviously torn up over this situation. And they ran the ball incredibly well in their 36-20 win at home over the Raiders. Newton goes 17 of 28 for 162 yards, touchdown and a pick. Shalik Calhoun, 2 forced fumbles. Dietrich Weiss Jr., a fumble recovery. That goes back to what Bebsy was saying, that Belichick can find guys off the street that can play spectacular defensive football. Patriots were down David Andrews. He's a big piece. I thought that might hurt them. It didn't hurt them. That's their center. Let's talk about these Chiefs. Everything Mahomes did was magic. $500 million man. It's just magic. Say what, Bebsy?
Can we just get this out of the yes, Mahomes is incredible. I think he's the second best quarterback in the league, and that's not a knock on him. It's because I just think Russ is better. But it's 1A, 1B. But can we pump the brakes on celebrating everything he does? People were going nuts because of that shovel pass. He flipped the ball 4 yards to somebody else. That's literally something I can do. I can do that. I could shovel a ball to somebody 4 yards away, and that guy, stop praising every little thing he does. He's amazing enough. You can pick from the great things that he does. Don't suck his dick because of this shovel pass. That's insane.
Nobody is applauding his choice of wife. Nobody is saying nice things about his bedroom activities over the next 30 to 40 years. We're just talking about him on the field, and he's been dominant.
He has been incredible. I'm just saying, there's plenty of incredible things to talk about. Let's not, like, I swear he's going to spike the ball to stop the clock, and people are going to be like, did you see how fast he spiked it? Like, just relax.
Bebsy, if you were a light-skinned brother with green eyes, maybe we'd say these things about you.
He's handsome. He's wholesome. He's lovable. I like all sorts of things about him. Just let's relax a little bit on some of the things we praise him for.
He was not intercepted, and he wasn't even sacked.
What's that?
He was not intercepted, and he wasn't even sacked, Bebsy. This guy is just out there untouched, man. Nobody gets a hand on him, Bebsy.
I'm not saying he's not incredible. I'm just saying let's talk about the incredible things he does and not the pedestrian things he does. Okay.
All right.
He likes ketchup. Who gives a shit? Anyways, let's talk about the game. I cannot bet against the Patriots in this spot. It does feel like a bit of a letdown game, especially coming off a massive Monday nighter. Let's see what crazy Bill Belichick is cooking up something. For me, it's Patriots or nothing. I just like the spot that the Patriots are in. They win football games no matter who they play. I mean, who's on their team. No matter what their roster is, Belichick figures it out. I think this is too big of a spread for KC against a still very dangerous New England Patriots team. So it's Pats or nothing for me in this play.
Are you going to stand in the way of Mahomes and take the Pats here?
I don't think I'm going to, because I want to lay off and I want to see how Belichick plays them. I want to see if the Chiefs keep rolling. Look, Birdie's saying they're the best team in football. There is absolutely no argument there. They are the best team in football. They won the Super Bowl last year and they got better. So I can't argue that. And sure, they obviously have the firepower to blow this up and win by 20, but it's hard to bet against Bill Belichick in this spot. You know, he's had that game circled on his calendar for months. I like the mastery of Bill Belichick. He's, in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time, alone at the top. He's just a psycho mastermind. I think this is a top spot for the Chiefs.
It is. What do you think of this total sitting at 47? I thought I was saying last week, Patriots are going to be an under team. I was like, look, let's wait to see how high this total goes up. We'll get underneath it. I watched that game and I was livid that, pick sixes and fumble recoveries screwed it. But I mean, the final score was what? 56 points. I lost it handily. What do you think of the total here? Can the Patriots and Bill Belichick keep the Chiefs off the board?
I think they'll do the best job of slowing them down yet. I think the Chargers game was a bit of an anomaly, but I think that point total is right where it should be.
I said 47. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong game. My fault.
Yeah, it's 54.
Yeah, it's it ranges. Oh, it doesn't range at all. What am I talking about? There's 253 and a half and the 54. My fault.
Yeah, it's just two teams that can put up points.
It's too high. The Patriots can put up points because they've been playing terrible defenses. Won't Belichick's whole plan to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hand by running it down their throat?
Yeah, that is a good look, actually. Huh.
You know what? When I said 47, and look, we've been sitting here for an hour 40 minutes. When I said 47, I didn't think that was a crazy number that came out of my mouth, which means I'm going to bet the under here. The only chance Belichick has is to do exactly what they did against the Raiders, run the ball down the Chiefs' throats. And maybe that's not possible. But I'm going to take the under here.
Something happened to Chris Jones in that game. Is he healthy? Is he on the injury report?
I will find out right now. I will take a look right now. But if I was sitting here talking like 47 was a possible number, how do I not take 54? Let's find out here. Get this for you. At this point, do you have a lean to a side or a total?
I think I would lean towards Birdie's saying not serious, Bevsy's trending to play. Okay, because that's a big swing. They'll have a much easier time running if he's out. I'm intrigued by this under. I feel like I need to. Do you think that'll move much? I feel like I want to think about that. You think they're gonna bet heavy to the under?
Not heavy, no, but I do. I think that's too high. With the only if you like the Patriots +7, then it feels like you have to like the under 54. If you like the Chiefs -7, then you have to like, or you would think that would correlate with the over.
Let's circle back around to this at the end of the show because I'm intrigued by this, but I need to think about it.
Alrighty, let's move on to Bills, Raiders, and then we'll talk Eagles, Niners. Let's go Bills, Raiders next. Bills, man, it's very difficult to figure out these Buffalo Bills, but they're fun to watch. They open up at 2.5. There's only 2.5 left on the board. All the other books have gone to 3. This total opened up at 49.5 and it shot up to 52.5. Allen, 3-yard pass to Croft, 15 seconds left, saves the day. He said all the right things in the interview afterwards. He's really showing that he is ready to be this team's quarterback for years and years and years. 24-33, 311 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Looks good. Beasley, 6 catches for 100 yards. Davis, 4 catches for 81 yards. Singletary as the main back due to the injury, 13 carries for 71 yards. And John Brown injured his calf in the first half and did not return. Did that play a part in them not being able to move the ball after the first 5 or 6 minutes of the second half? Raiders defense looked bad in the 36-20 loss to New England. They couldn't stop the run game. Derek Carr, 24 of 32 for 261 yards. He had 2 fumbles. Jacobs had a fumble. After looking so good in the red zone and on third down, that fell apart. 2 for 5 in the red zone, 3 of 9 on third down. They didn't have Henry Ruggs because of injuries to his knee and hamstring. Also, no Trent Brown, right tackle. No Kwiatkowski, their linebacker. And Richie Incognito on injured reserve. They're dealing with some injuries. And the Bills come to town, Bebsy. Lewis McCoy says the Raiders are overrated. And Birdie says Raiders have the Chiefs on deck. This is a sandwich. Look ahead for the Raiders. This one won't be close. Take it away, Bebsy.
I tend to agree with Birdie here. The Czar saying don't bet against Gruden at the Death Star. They did look good at home. And he's right. Czar's also saying that Ruggs opens up this offense, and it's true. So the Ruggs injury is huge. I don't know if he's going to play or not. I believe he is listed as doubtful right now. That's a big swing for me if he's in or out. The other question is what happens to Buffalo in the middle of a game that they'll be destroying a team and they barely have week 1 they were doing the same thing. This week they were on fire. It looked like they were going to blow out the Rams, and then it really came down to a questionable pass interference call at the end of that game that gave it back to Buffalo. I want to. It seems like a cut and dry Bills pick, but the Bills' second half has scared me so far. Why are they so hot out of the gate and so garbage in the second half? What's the first half for the Bills looking like?
Let me get that for you right now. First half, Bills. Prince of the City is on Canada's team. These Buffalo Bills. It's really no different than the full game. -2.5.
You know what? I will take the -2.5 first half, and I won't touch the game total because that's what Buffalo's been doing, coming out hot and then falling apart. So that to me is a safer play here.
First half, but well, let me line shop for you. Here. Let's see what I can get you. Bills first half on the odds.com odds page. Let's go. First half, licensed American books. See what we can get you. Wow. This is crazy, and this is why you line shop. Bet365 is going to give you a 2.5 on first half. But Bet River is going to give you 1.5. BetMGM is going to give you a half. That's crazy.
That's why you line shop.
Jesus. First half, you're getting 2 points better over there. THC's Rizza says, I don't want Buffalo first half on the road. DeAndre Polk says, I could easily see Bills ending up 3-3 after these next 3 games. Wow. And Dennis Garcia says, the autumn wind is a pirate. It will also be 3-1 after Sunday. Wow. Dennis Garcia, little riddle for you to tell you that he thinks Raiders are going to win this. First half minus a half, Bebsy. First half minus a half. What a deal you're getting.
Yeah, I'm taking that minus a half. I love the way the Bills have started. I don't like the way the Bills have finished. Even though Dennis Garcia's poetry has really shaken me to the core here.
Yeah.
Wow.
The autumn wind is a pirate. Wow. That's an amazing line that you're getting from BetMGM. Makes you want to head out. If you like the look, head over to the MGM right now. BetMGM first half minus half at minus 118. DeAndre Polk says the Bills and Bears are going to start losing.
The Bills don't usually start falling apart until like week 5 or 6. I feel like for so many years the Bills started out so hot. I don't think they're that. I don't think that's the identity of the team anymore, just because I think McDermott is too good of a coach.
Yeah, I don't. It's confusing. It's confusing. Tremaine Edmonds, we're asking about what his availability is. He had 5 total tackles, 4 solos, 1 assist against the Rams. He's good to go. Wow. I don't know what to do here. I'm going to leave this as man, I came out firing out of the gate and I've slowed down.
I honestly, when I was looking at this earlier, I thought I was going to have 2 games on my card.
Joseph Gomez is calling Dennis Garcia Shakespeare's Latino cousin. All right, let's move on to the night game. We get there finally, Prince of the City. You can stop staring at Biden's dead face, and you can look over at Eagles, Niners. But, man, I was hoping that Biden would fare okay. Going to be a huge cash grab for me if Biden can win. We got that. After the first 2 primaries, my dad and I each got hundo on Biden at plus 2,000. We made a few other bets on Biden earlier, but plus 2,000. And I haven't hedged. Maybe I will after I watch the debate. Eagles, Niners. The Sunday nighter. Wentz struggled again. This man knows how to struggle. Let's see what we are dealing with. This total opened up at 43. It's up to 45. Niners opened up at minus 6. It's up to minus 6.5 at 1 book. All the rest are at 7, except for one, a leading indicator book. It's already moved to 7.5. Wentz struggles. 2 more picks. 29-47 for 225 yards, 1 TD. Runs for 65 yards and a score. They tie the Bengals. Throwing multiple picks in 3 consecutive games. Miles Sanders 19 times running for 95 yards. They sacked Burrow 8 times. You have to think, if Sanders runs for 100 yards, you sack Burrows 8 times, how badly did you beat the Bengals? What? You didn't beat them? The Eagles have not forced any turnovers on defense through 13 quarters this year. Goddard hurts his ankle. Deshaun Jackson hurts his hamstring. Cornerback Avonte Maddox hurts his ankle. They're in trouble. And look at slick Nick Mullins, 343 yards and a touchdown. Niners completely dominate the Giants in MetLife. 25-36, Mullins goes. They outgain New York 422-31. They hold the ball for 39 minutes and 44 seconds. They forced 3 turnovers. As I said earlier, Giants didn't have one play in the red zone. Look at who's out for the Niners. Garoppolo, Bosa, Thomas, Mostert, Coleman, Sherman, Kittle, Witherspoon, Greenlaw. Then they lose Mosley. Then they lose Jordan Reed. And they score 7 of their first 8 possessions. Are the Niners that good?
They didn't punt. They didn't punt all game. The only drive that they didn't get points was a missed field goal from 55. Like, it was a masterfully called game from Kyle Shanahan. However, it was against the Giants. Let's not get too excited about that dub. Yeah, it was great that the Niners' second and third string players pulled out a dominant win, but it was still against the Giants. You know, there's already people calling for QB controversy. Look, I like Nick Mullins. I think he's a very serviceable backup. He's probably one of the best backups in the NFL, but come on, it's the Giants. And really, he didn't look great until they started opening it up with the defense. The defense got a couple of turnovers. Nick got a little more comfortable, and they started to play well. Now, Debo is probably coming back this week. Kittle could be coming back. Mostert could be coming back. Jimmy G could be coming back. There's a lot of ifs. So the question is, do you jump on it now and hope all those Niners come back? Because if you get 6.5 now and the Niners get Kittle, and I don't even know if they need Mostert back. McKinnon, though, might be out because I think he has a rib contusion. So who knows? But the way Wentz is playing, you almost just want to dive in on this anyways. It's a big, big question for who's coming back. I do believe Debo is pretty much for sure coming back. I think the Kittle, it felt like they held Kittle out last week because of the turf and uncertainty. So I don't know. Dennis Garcia wants to fade San Fran again. How'd that turn out for you last time?
Steel Curtain says, should I lock in 49ers now or wait? For some reason, and look, I was very fortunate to hit the Eagles -3 push Eagles -3 first half. Look, I'm not going to take the Eagles here. And Prince of the City, look, he is paying his mortgage fading all Philly teams. But something has me hesitant here. Now that after 2 weeks out east, they fly back home.
Birdie,
should I be hesitant
your
here?
apology was unnecessary, man. It was not needed.
I'm not going to take the Eagles here, but should I be hesitant or should you just slam the Niners?
Again, like if it's sitting at 6.5, and that's with the uncertainty of how many of these guys come back, and you get Kittle back, you get Debo back, I think the offense can just blow apart this Eagles team. So, look, if Wentz is already in his head, even this injured Niners defense is talented. This injured Niners defense is still much better than the Bengals defense.
Czar said he thought I wore this Niners hat for the 49ers bet. Look, I wore a powder blue Blue Jays jersey and a beauty old school gray Blue Jays hat and faded the Jays first 5 in full game and reaped the rewards. So it's not about what I'm wearing, man. But I'm hesitant. You can't get a 6.5 in any of the licensed books right now. Would you like to pull the trigger on the 7, Bebsy?
It feels like an easy play, but there's something holding me back. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that, look, if Verrett gets hurt and Witherspoon and Mosley are still out, then I don't know who's playing corner for them. They're down to the 4th and 5th string corner. And Dante Johnson is bad. There's so many injuries all over the place. They're not going to roll over them like they did the Giants and the Jets.
No move for me. We are going to review our actions. Say what, Bebsy?
To me, this is Niners or nothing.
Agreed.
And look, it'll look like the easiest play possible if Kittle and Debo and Mostert play. So, but by then the line will shift.
Princess says, keep losing money on the Eagles. I will keep laughing. Look, I'm not going to. Dennis Garcia says, Jimmy, the hat fade. Yeah, if hat fade looked beautiful today, but only because Montoya should be open hand slapped by somebody before he goes to sleep after pulling Shoemaker after 35 pitches and rolling through the Rays line. All right, football show. One of the good things about betting against your team is if they lose, you win money, and if they win, you get very excited about the future. So but I'd rather win money. All right, let's get to the Monday nighter. Falcons, Packers. Great call on the Packers last week. I don't know why it is I'm not getting on this Packers train with you guys because you keep getting paid. Things just keep getting worse for the Falcons.
I want to clarify that I'm not on a Packers train. I'm on an Aaron Rodgers train right now. That guy is possessed. He is actually playing like the best quarterback in football right now, which isn't a crazy thing to say. He's obviously great, but he is, I think he has the highest rating from Pro Football Focus right now, above Russ and above Mahomes, which is nuts. But Rodgers is doing everything right now.
Green Bay opens at 7.5, and we've seen our first 7s on the board. There are 3 7s on the board, but we mostly have 7.5s. And this total opens up somewhere near the hemisphere at 58. 58. Let's talk about these Falcons. They're up 26-10 with 6.5 minutes left. This Falcons team is just the live bettors' glory, man. I mean, 26-10 with 6.5 minutes left. Every time I look at a Falcons game, I just take a peek over at the winning percentage, expected winning percentage, and it's always at 99.2 and.
Wasn't it 99-1 or 99-9 in that Cowboys game? I'm pretty sure it was it went up to 99.9, I think.
I don't know if it hit that, but I watched the Super Bowl when the Falcons collapsed at your place, Bubsy.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Atlanta.
And one comedian who I think a lot of these guys would know, he showed up for the draft show anyways.
Yeah, Tim Stevens.
He got so drunk and had to go home and woke up shit-talking another friend about the Falcons win, and we all had to text him and be like, dude, you need to look at the score. And he just wrote back, fuck, that's it. He actually had passed out drunk thinking that there was no chance Atlanta could possibly lose. But this seems to be Quinn's identity, blowing massive leads.
Now they have injuries, excuses. This past week they played without 6 starters. Julio Jones, hamstring. Olokun, their linebacker, hamstring. Caleb McGarry, knee. McKinley, groin, their defensive end. Safety Ricardo Allen, elbow. AJ Terrell, COVID-19. Then they lose Russell Gage, their wide receiver, to a concussion. They lose defensive tackle Grady Jarrett to a hip injury. And then Darquez Denard, who they need desperately, even though he's not that good, was placed on the IR with a hamstring injury. With all those injuries, they have to face Aaron Rodgers in the Packers. Rodgers throws for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked so good. Does it without Devontae Adams. Alan Lazard, 6 catches for 146 yards. They looked very good. 2 of Lazard's catches, 1 for 48, 1 for 72. I mean, they put up 43 against Minnesota, 42 against Detroit, 37 against New Orleans. They lose Christian Kirksey, their linebacker, to a shoulder injury. Unclear if he's going to be good to go here. Falcons, Packers is 7.5. We have 2 7.5 or 7-point favorites here in the Niners and the Packers in the 2 late games. Tell me what you think about these Packers here.
Look, I've been high on the Packers and specifically Aaron Rodgers since week 1. Just that throw on the run to Devontae Adams for a touchdown in week 1 has sold me on Aaron Rodgers for this year. He is on a warpath. He is just absolutely on fire. And on the other side of the ball, I don't know what mentality are they going into this game with? If you're the Atlanta Falcons and you have given up 2 massive late leads in back-to-back games, there's some stat that's in the last 20 years, there's been like 2 teams that have lost 15 points in the fourth quarter or something. And then the Falcons did it in back-to-back weeks. Something along. I obviously butchered that stat, but just what kind of mentality do the Falcons have going into this game? This could be an absolute smashing of the Falcons, or they could do what they've been doing and come out hot and throw up a bunch of points and then blow it. It's so hard to figure out what the Falcons are going to do. Do they like Quinn? Will they be playing for his job? Because they are. If he does this, he basically has to win the rest of his games for them not to fire him now. He could be gone mid-season. Man, this is so hard. Bebs, they have the record no one has gone 0-3 with all those points for. Oh, yeah, I did hear that stat as well. Yeah.
Team total for the Packers right now, Turnsey asking, Dylan Turnovich asking, 33.5 for the Packers. So how – oh, wow, Prince of the City. Very interested to watch it. What do you say here? How do you make money off this game? So we all know that the books make all their money on NFL. And this seems like a position or a situation sort of reminiscent of that over, even though we got in on that Packers or that Chiefs Ravens over early. We got the 53 or 53.5, so we cashed. But it just, if we know the books make all their money on football, is this a spot where the books are going to eat? And we already heard from Birdie, who thinks some of these big dogs have a ton of value here this week. How are you going to make money off this game, Bebsy?
I mean, right now, the most enticing play, and I'm not even sure I'm on it, but the most enticing play is the Packers team total. Because I don't know what kind of Falcons mentality is going to show up. I don't know how you lose 2 games like that in back-to-back fashion and come out with any sort of gusto. Like, how are you not massively deflated after that? How do you look your coach in the eye? How do you look your teammates in the eye? They're injured. I just first half total over. What's the first half total?
The first half total at Bet365 is 28. Juice to the under. Slightly.
Maybe that's the play. I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe not, though, because, look, I don't know what we're going to see from the Falcons this week.
Yeah. What if
the Czar saying I think that goes way over. I think so, too, but how are the Falcons showing up this week? what does that locker room feel like? You saw Dan Quinn rip off his headset in frustration at the end of that game, and just utter dismay on the look of Matt Ryan. Like, this is a disaster. This is a hard. Jimmy, listening to what you said about the NFL needing to make money on this, or the books making money on this, rather, this, I don't know. I know the logic of betting the over here. There's something holding me back. There's something holding me back with just this Falcons mentality.
Well, I mean, it opens up at 58. And that's just a crazy high total. Since its opener, the under has moved 12 cents in most books.
Birdie, you know what? I've thought about it, and I am going to accept your apology for the Giants-Niners game last week.
Well, that's nice of you. That's very good of you. So, do we move on from the Monday Nighter with no move at this point in Falcons-Panthers?
God. Well, this is just going to go up, if anything, right?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, within the last 12 to 24 hours, probably the public pushes this up, but what will it go down to with all the handicappers making moves throughout the week? I mean, it's already moved 5 to 10 cents up to 12 cents or a half point at most books, from 58 down in juice or 58 to 57.5.
I think I'm overthinking this. The Packers offense is rolling and the Atlanta Falcons defense is terrible. I think I like the Packers team total over
33.5 rather than taking the Packers to win by 7.
Yeah, because look, the Falcons offense, if they're not busy shitting the bed late in the game, they can put up points.
Alrighty. Well,
it's a bad defense.
No doubt about it. But 33.5, it's juiced to the over. 33.5 is the highest team total I've seen in a long time.
Well, I mean, it's high for a reason. Like this Packers team is flying, and this the Dirty Birds are not.
Team total over 33.5 at minus 125 at bet 365. You want to lock that in?
Why are you talking me out of this, Jimmy?
I get fearful when the totals get that high on a prop type situation. So in NBA, I've not made a player prop over. I've not bet one over 29.5. I did once this year, first time in 3 or 4 years. I made a rule not to ever take a player prop over 29.5. I see it 33.5, and I just think that's ridiculous, because if you want to hit that 33.5, you better have the Falcons in the game. Because if this Falcons team is not in this game, there's going to be no reason for the Packers to put up 35 to 40 points. That's my hesitance. So if I thought the Packers were going to score over 33.5 points, I'd be more likely to take the Packers minus 7.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not at the point where weather is causing a big issue here. So let's just see what we have expected for Sunday in Green Bay. Showers, and then chance of showers by 3 o'clock. Now, this changes a lot. There's not going to be a lot of wind. I don't like giving out the weather on Tuesdays because that's negatively affected me. Where I'm going, oh, look at it, it's going to be raining and and then it's not. So I stopped doing that. We'll give out the weather on Sunday, but but right now it's showers until maybe kickoff or till 2 o'clock.
You know what? Your breakdown is perfect, and it makes a lot of sense. And so I'm switching for the Pack to cover. I just, man, why am I overthinking this? The Packers are just a better football team. They're playing better. They don't have any recent meltdowns. They're at home. Everything screams the Pack should roll in this.
Yeah, -7 and -110 at BetMGM is the best we can give you.
Yeah, I'm on that.
-7 at -110 at BetMGM.
Yeah. You and it looks like everybody in the chat is making a lot of sense on this.
And you're going head to head with Birdie. And Joe Yurkovich, he says if the Packers go over the team total, they barely go over, and they could easily cover their way over the 7.
Yeah. Joe makes sense. Birdie, sorry, looks like we're going head to head again.
All righty. There is your entire NFL card. Let's take a brief review of each game and what our action is. Broncos, Jets. I'm on the Jets money line. No play for Bebsy. Colts, Bears. I took the Bears at +2.5. No play for Bebsy. And then I have this Jaguars just staring at me in the face. And what would I get right now if I took the Jags? Can I get a 3.5? No, +3. Wonder if a 3.5 becomes available. I'm not going to bet the Jags right now, but I'm going to be staring at them. I'm going to be looking at them very closely. Then we move to the Browns. Bebsy's first play on this card, Browns +5.5, -110 at Fox Bet. I took Browns +4.5. Saints, Lions, we are off. Lewis McCoy, thank you for joining us, my man. Yes, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, Bebsy and I are breaking things down. Saints, Lions, we are off. Then the Steelers, -2. You took at DraftKings. Kings, that's off the board at a lot of shops. Then Seahawks, Dolphins. I moved on the Dolphins +6.5 and -110. Chargers, Buccaneers. We are both off at this point. Then we get to the Ravens. Bebsy took the first half team total over 14.5 at +100. And the question is right now, do you think that the Ravens are going to bounce back or are gutted after that loss? Bebsy, in less than 30 seconds, can you answer that question to me? Do you think the Ravens are gutted or a big bounce back?
No, because I think they're too well coached to not bounce back here. I'm a fan of John Harbaugh. I think they bounce back. I don't think they're gutted, and I don't think they come out sloppy.
I think they want to win too. I hate those 3.5s in the first quarter. I wonder if I could get a 3. I'm not going to take that team total over 14.5 because I feel like if the Ravens get me 14 points, I should be able to, in the first half, I should be able to cover my first quarter and first half. And Proud Babylonian says they are not gutted. And
I don't think so either. They're too good of a team, too well coached.
Then we get the Cardinals, Panthers. That's a stay off for both of us. Then we get the Vikings, Texans. If this game is on the board, I would be interested in the Texans, but we got some COVID issues to deal with. Then we get to Giants, Rams. Bebsy and I. Oh, Bebsy only. Yeah, no, sorry. Bebsy and I both did first half full game. First half full game. That's locked in. Joe Yurkovich, I can get the Ravens -6.5, but Joe Yurkovich letting us know Ravens -7 +110. First half is at FanDuel. Then we go to Patriots, Chiefs. You wanted us to revisit this game briefly, Bebsy. I'm on the under 54 in Patriots at Chiefs.
The more I thought about it, I just want to stay off this game.
All right. Then you took the Bills at MGM, bet MGM first half minus 118. I still haven't figured out what to do with it.
I love the way the Bills have been starting games. I have to, even on the road, I have to take that.
Then Eagles, Niners, stay off. And the Monday nighter, Packers -7 is locked in by Bebsy. And I like it. But I just want to spend a little bit more time with it before I pull the trigger on it.
Demetrios Davos asked Bebsy, "You sure about not taking the Dolphins?" No, I am not sure about not taking the Dolphins. I lean the Dolphins in that. I'm staying off that game, but feels like a letdown spot for Seattle. You know, I put a lot of stock into Flores, so I'm not certain about it, but I do lean Dolphins.
There you have it. There you have it. We broke down every single game on the NFL card. Thank you guys so much for rolling with us. 2 hours, 15 minutes. Now, we're going to have bye weeks moving forward. So after this week, the shows won't be so long. But it's extremely enjoyable breaking down all these games with everybody in the chat. Bebsy, 13-4. Got to keep this rolling. 13-4, up 8.33 units. His ROI is 49%. Keep up the spectacular work, Bebsy, my friend. I will see you Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern right here on Odds HQ. You can add any bets you want during the week. You just have to tweet them out with the book that you're getting them at to make them official. And Bebsy, my man, any last words for these great cappers in the chat?
Man, just thank you guys for coming back each week and enjoying us. Birdie, let's go head to head. Joe Yurkovich, time to fade Bebsy. You know what, Joe? You're probably right. No, you guys are all beauties. Thank you for joining us. I love this. This is too much fun.
Yeah, it's extremely enjoyable. But we don't have anything without you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your humor and your insights. Shout out to Demetrios Davos, Birdie, Johnny K, Nilo, Dennis Garcia, Buzznut721, The Czar, Steel Curtain, Birdie, Joey Yurkovich, Dylan Turnsey, Dylan Turnsey, Mr. Know-It-All, my man Leo, Charles Yardy, Prince of the City, Proud Babylonian, perfect rotation. Thank you guys so much for your insights. Lewis McCoy, all of you guys. Huzaifa, thank you for watching. And I'm 12-12. I want to reach the heights of Bebsy. And I like this week. I think there's a lot of action for us this week. And the first 3 weeks there's mines all over the place. It's tricky. And I think we've got through it nice. And now we roll. Now we roll on our way to glory. Bebsy, great hustle, great work. Let's get paid.
Likewise, Jimmy, buddy, let's get paid.
That's simple. Let's get that cash. We'll catch you guys Sunday at 11.